Hey guys, I promised another video showing how I build my boxes, and I decided to build 3 more. And so I'm going to just show you the construction of that and then how I'm setting up my system back here in the backyard. So we're expanding our garden and just wanted to show you how it's done. Alright, so I went ahead and treated this wood, got it all ready. I have, let's see here, 2x6s. And they are approximately 7.5 feet long, and it's going to be 3.5 feet wide, my boxes. So you want to make sure that when you cut them, depending on how you design your boxes, and I'll show this in detail as I build these, but you want to subtract the width of the wood, so 1.5 inches essentially, from the dimensions, so that you don't have boxes that are too big and they are perfectly sized. So I'll show you how I do that, the way I stagger mine, and the look that I'm trying to get as I build them. So, all right, moving on to the next step. So what I do with my boxes is I sort of set it up. These boxes are being built upside down, and so I want to remember which side is going to be the good side, as far as what you're going to see when you walk into the yard, the fronts, and then I put the bad side, or the less attractive sides, on the inside or toward the back of the box that aren't seen. So what I do is I get these are 4x4x8s cut into 2-foot sections, and I have 2x6s. These boxes are going to be 18 inches tall. So when I'm finished, they'll be approximately 6 inches that will be going into the ground, that'll be sunk into the ground. That just allows for stability and just lining it up and all that good stuff. So I will have to dig some holes to sink these down so that this is flush with the ground. But right now what I do is I basically lay it all out, and then I'll show you how I screw it in as I move on. Okay, so what I do is I kind of set it up first just to see how it's look. This is going to be my front, and so I've chosen the best pieces of wood. I like the knots, I like the color. And then what I do is I stagger it, you can see, and I match up with my existing boxes, so that you have one piece, you have an end piece, a flat piece, and an end piece, and then just the opposite on the other side once it's finished. So I kind of lay out how I want it to look first, and then I go ahead and start screwing in. So this will be the front, like I said, and I'll take these back down so they don't tip over as I'm screwing them in, but you'll see the process as we go along. Okay, I just want to give you a quick look at the materials I'm using. I'm using these screws. They're 2.5 inch deck screws. I got this brownish color because it matches the wood. It makes it less visible once you're done. But at least a 2.5 inch gives you an inch of grab after you get through the first piece of wood and into this 4x4 post here. Also, what you want to get, because sometimes this is not too tight of a grain, but you don't want to have to deal too much with screwing that much 2.5 inches all the way through wood. So you want to get a countersink drill bit, and what you'll do, we're just going to do 2 holes. Actually, what you do is I'm going to do 4 holes here, 2 in this to the end piece here, and then 2 directly into this 4x4. So you're going to connect these 2 pieces here, as you can see, and then you're going to connect these 2. And on this side, you're going to do also 4, but they're going to be 4, 2 top, 2 bottom, directly into this piece of wood. And that's how I've built mine. They're really solid, not going to come apart. So I'll get going and show you how it's done. All right, I'm getting started here. It is much nicer if you have 2 drills. Unfortunately, my other one is out of service right now. Need to buy a new one. So I have 1 drill. That way you keep this bit on one and the driver bit on the other. Makes it go much quicker. Let me just show you how I do this, and then I'll kind of go through the process here. So I make sure it's tight. I make sure this 4x4 piece is tight. Another quick note. You want to make sure your whole surface here is level that you're sitting on. You don't want it to be too far off. You can adjust it as you go, as far as, you know, tweaking the you know, the shape of this thing, but you really want it to be perfectly square when you're done. So a nice flat surface is going to make a huge difference once you finish here. If you can see this, I got a little bit of a gap here, so I have to actually push down on this piece of wood to get it to line up properly. And I may want to actually move this thing. Actually, that's going to be okay. I'll just kind of lift this up. So what you do, and I don't measure too much, I do about an inch from the top, inch from the bottom, and center of that piece of wood there. So I'm going to hold this. It's flush with my thumb here. Find about an inch below. And I don't drill too deep, just enough to get that head of the screw sunk in there. And then I make sure it's flush on the bottom as well when I'm drilling. And I eyeball it, you know. If you want to get more detailed, you could measure it out, mark every single hole. That's just, I guess it depends on how much OCD you have. But I don't have that much, so I'm perfectly content just eyeballing it here. And then I'll just go center of this 4x4, again an inch down, try to line it up so it looks pretty nice, and then again drill in there. And then you know, I guess I got a little bit of detail. And finally that. Now while I'm here, I'll go ahead and do this other side because I don't want to have to change this bit out every time. So again, I'll another quick note, the height of these screws here, these holes, they're going to be going in this way. And as you go in this way, you don't want to hit those. So you're going to want to offset just a little bit. So you can look kind of on the side here and you can make a judgment. I usually go down a little bit so that I can miss those screws. You can also go at an angle if you really wanted to, but I like to keep it nice and straight. So again, nice and flush, looking at it, and I'll go ahead and make my first hole there. And the second one on the same plane here. About a half to 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch in, and again down at the bottom. Again, making sure to kind of avoid these screws at the bottom here. And we'll do that. And that's it for the pre-drill. Now, I'm taking my time here just to show you, but this could go much quicker. So I hope you don't think it's gonna take forever, but just pop this off, put your new bit on, tighten that up, and what I just do is just put them in just a little twist real quick to get them in there so I can make it go faster. I do like to be efficient with my time, especially because it's getting a little warm out here. I'm gonna have to put my farmer's hat on soon. But so yeah, you've got 8 screws now. You necessarily, you don't necessarily need to do this. In fact, I think on my existing boxes I only put 2 on this side. So I'll probably continue, at least with this one, just doing the 4 on each side. But if totally unnecessary, you can get away with just 2 on each side. Again, making sure this is flush, and you see how it just sucks it up real nice. And you want to kind of just verify every screw once you're going in that you're in a good tight spot here and everything's looking nice. All right, I see this is just a hair too high, and so since I've already screwed this in, I'm just going to prop this up. Let's take a little screw here and prop it up just a bit, because it's also lifting this, so it's going to be fine. But I am gonna just try and make sure as close as possible to line these screws up here, line these boards up. All right, that's good. That looks good. It looks flush on the bottom here. All right, and then I'll go ahead and pop these in. These don't need to worry too much about because the other side is nice and tight. And these go in nice and easy. Feel that? That's pretty flush on the bottom there. And that's your beginning. That's your first corner here. And what you do with the rest is just line them up as you go. I'll show you how that works, but pretty much this is going to be your square. You'll measure this corner to the opposing corner on both ends to make sure this whole box is square before you put it in the ground. But the pieces of wood will pretty much, as long as you measure these correctly, they're going to dictate how square the box is. So, all right, you can see I've already pre-drilled. I put the screws kind of in before I screw them in. I just wanted you to see that I've done this end piece on this side. What that does is it keeps the correct distance, the correct width, and you know, the measurements are right. One thing you might have noticed is I only put 2 screws this time because these are not cheap. This is, how many pounds is this? They go by the pound. They don't even go by, they don't count screws or anything. They just go by the pound. It's a few pounds, maybe, I don't even know. 30 bucks for this, $30. So you want these to last. And so saving that extra 2 screws on each side is gonna probably make it so that I can get through this whole project without having to buy any more of these things. And it matches the other one. So I did add a few extras on, or 2 extra on that side, but I'm not concerned about that. Still, nobody should notice, except for you guys. So I'm going to continue on this and I'll show you the progress. All right, again, just to reiterate here, make sure this is flush, and I'm alternating again, end piece and flat piece, and then just screwing it in. If you measured correctly, this will be flush, and the other end will be flush as well. So, as long as you got good measurements, you're doing well. Things up. All right, and this side. You can really feel this is a nice solid piece too. So we'll continue shortly. Here's what your finished corner should look like. All 4 corners should look very similar to that. And then as you can see, if I pan up a little bit here, yeah, you've got that extra several inches, 6 inches or so, that's going to go into the ground. So this is actually, as I said earlier, upside down. And this will go into the ground. So we'll show that in a little bit, but I'm just going to finish up this one and then I'll show you the final product right after that. All right, so I've gone ahead and finished this box, and I stood it up on its right side up, and you can see here, I'll kind of pan around a little bit, finish results here. And again, like I said, this will be my front, so I've chosen that wood just to look the nicest. You know, I think that's the nicest pieces. I like the naughty look. And yeah, so I'll go ahead and get this in the ground, build the other 2, and I'll show you that process later. Okay, just realized I had recorded an entire section of video without audio, so that's fun. Anyway, I've got this thing set in here. Had some issues in the back. That stucco wall there had some jagged edges that was pushing this forward, which is throwing my whole geometry off. So I chipped that away, got that back in there, went ahead and dug these post holes, leveled out the dirt, and you can see I got a pretty good sized pile of dirt from doing that just in the middle. I just leveled it toward the inside, and I don't have a long level, so I went ahead and used my torpedo level with this piece of wood across the 2 here. Got that level, got my 24 inches in between here at the front point and at the back point. So they are perfectly parallel, and snug this up against the back wall. Got a good straight line here on the face of these things. And so that's it. It took me about 20-30 minutes to level this out, get it all dug up. It'll vary. I had some big rocks to pull out. You can see in the back, I just dig 6 inches and I get boulders. So that's just the nature of my ground, which is why, by the way, one of the big reasons why I love the raised beds, because you can just put your own dirt in them, rock free, and it gives just a nice look, and you don't have to deal with all the other stuff, and your plants don't have to deal with it. So I plan on planting this box as well as the other 2, so I'll have 6 total boxes here, and those will be full hopefully by the end of this week and start growing. I got some onions over here that are about to harvest. I'll show you in a quick second just to give you a quick update, and that's it. All right, here is my completed setup. As you can see, I got my 3 boxes all filled with dirt and compost and perlite, and I got some starts in there. Of course, I'm going to use good seed, non-GMO, organic, all that good stuff. I left my yardstick in there from when I measured these out. These are pumpkins, so I just put rows of 2 rows, and I don't know how many I got in there, a few. That's going to be a whole pumpkin box. Right here I have some cucumbers, zucchinis, and in the back I got some pumpkin seeds I just planted. Lots of pumpkins. Here, bell peppers in the back, got from a good place, local here, and this is going to be an entire bed of bell peppers. So I love bell peppers, my wife loves them, so we'll get several more varieties hopefully today or tomorrow. And here are our squash, and tons of different squash: butternut squash, yellow squash, spaghetti squash. In the very back I had some volunteers that came up from last year. I don't even know what they are. They could be pumpkins or squash or something, but I decided if they wanted to live that bad, I'm going to let them live. So that's what I'm doing here. And then over here, just some onion starts we got. And I don't know what else I'm going to put in the front here, but we'll figure that out soon. And here are my existing onions that are doing really well. Obviously they're starting to go to flower and seed. But this box, if I can pan back here, the box is nearly 18 inches tall. These are sticking up close to 6 feet, some of them. So about 4.5 feet tall. You can see some good ones down there. There's a big one. It's about 4 inches. And let's see, we got some twins there, and a couple of these were planted really close, or I didn't thin them out, but they are doing really well. This whole setup here. And then over here I still have my tomatoes. I got 1 onions that came out, but I just planted them in the ground. But tomatoes that are all good starts from seed, except for that one I got. Can't find grape tomato seeds, so I had to buy that one. But the rest of these, and then this is a boysenberry that I got to get in the ground. So that's all my setup. You can see, if I can pan back here, you can see the whole setup here. I do have some irrigation to finish, but other than that, I love this setup. I love how it looks, how it turned out, and then just the added capacity that we can have more stuff growing. So I'm excited about all that. Last year I wish I had a couple more, and now I have 3 more, so pretty cool. In the back here I do have some citrus, lime, lemon, orange, grapefruit, and then a grapevine that is going crazy. Trimmed that a lot, pruned it back, way back, and that thing, they just love to grow, and they love to grow in this area where we live. So I'm going to plant some more of those. Actually, I'm going to plant some wine grapes in the near future here, but I suggest, and you know, I follow my own suggestion, is start small. I started with 3 boxes, and that for some that might be too much. You can start with these wine barrels that you see over here. Just start with 1 wine barrel, and then as you start, you know, figuring out what you're doing and learning more, and just add on. So we had some wine barrels, did those with herbs, and then I just added these boxes. So they seem to I seem to be able to handle it, which is something you want. You don't want all your stuff to die. So yeah, that's my suggestion for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, thanks for watching.